So here's a question for you. Would you benefit from ongoing support to improve your sales conversations and ultimately close more business? The Sales Maven Society offers you daily support for your urgent sales questions, an extensive library of bite-sized trainings to hone your selling skills, and monthly live coaching calls where you receive individualized coaching from me specific to your business so that you're able to remove any bottlenecks in your sales process. This is the most robust sales coaching program around for an incredible value of only $147 a month. And you can join now for your first month for only $47. You get access to absolutely everything, including the live coaching calls with me. Come check it out and see if this is the place for you to really elevate your business to the next level. You can do this by going to yoursalesmaven.com/society, hit the join now button. And then when it takes you to that page, enter this code, the number 4, the number 7, and the word trial, TRIAL. So 47 trial, all one word, and you'll be a member. I can't wait to see you in there. Now, here's the podcast.
Do sales conversations make you feel awkward or pushy? It's time to ditch the outdated salesy strategies. Your guide, Nikki Roush, will show you how to combine kindness with selling skills to meet your prospects where they are, and in the process, how to up-level your influence and income. Learn how to earn business easily and effortlessly. Here's Nikki.
Welcome to the Sales Maven Show. I'm Nikki Roush. Today's episode is something a little extra special. It's episode 200. When I started this podcast back in March of 2020, I had no idea that I would make it to episode 200. And the only reason I did is because you are listening. So thank you for that. Now we're going to do something a little extra special today. We've never actually done this before. We're going to do lightning round on-air coaching calls. Now, how we set this up is my brilliant, amazing assistant reached out to a few of our clients and asked them if they would like to come on and ask some questions. And she gathered some questions from listeners. So my team is here with me, and we have some listeners here as well. So you might remember my team from episode 100. They are all here with me today. They have questions from listeners that they're going to throw my way. So I want to welcome Kathy Bliss, Melissa Spindler, and Jayme Richardville. I love each and every one of these ladies. I also have here with me two of our listeners. We have Angela Foster and Cherylynne Crowther. Did I say it right? Yes? No? Yes. Okay. She's giving me the yes. And I'm super excited to hear what questions they have for us. Now, I want to remind you that Angela has been on the podcast before. She was on episode 155, Thought Leadership in Sales. My team was episode 100, where they threw some questions to me back then. I can't believe that it's been 100 episodes since we recorded that. So I want to say first and foremost, hi, welcome, each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. And we're going to start with Cherylynne because we haven't had her on the podcast yet. So Cherylynne, welcome to the show, friend. Would you please introduce yourself and your business, and how can I serve today?
Oh, great. It's wonderful to be here, Nikki. I really appreciate it. Cherylynne Crowther, and my business is Liberate Disability. And I provide support to parents who have a child in the special education system, who want to get past the frustration, the anger, and just the exhaustion of going through that system. And I speak from personal experience and from advocacy, and am excited to be able to help parents. And so my question is directly related. One of the challenges is that parents who need help don't have a lot of the resources, time, energy, money. Mm-hmm. So what is your response to legitimate requests for sliding scale fees or scholarship applications?
Oh.
And so my life goal is really to see the special education system change. Mm-hmm. My business goal is to work with parents that basically kind of have maybe more money than time and energy. And I focus there because that funds my system change advocacy. So I need to do advocacy for changing the system overall. Part of that is how I have parents pay for me to be able to help them one-on-one. What do you suggest?
Yeah, you know what comes to mind? And I like this might be so far out of left field. And I did not know that this was your question. So I'm just going to say it because sometimes when I get these random ideas, I just want to say them out loud. I wonder if it would be in your best interest from this idea of sliding scale, scholarship type stuff. Could you create some kind of a series? Could be a podcast, could be a video series, could be it could be a group coaching call where people can come and sit and be in the audience and listen. And you let people submit their question ahead of time or the thing they're struggling with. And you use it as an opportunity to promote your business, but give them an opportunity to get some time with you if they can't afford to pay you for your services. And that would be your way to give back to people. It would be a way for people to have access to that content later on. If they missed that opportunity, they could go back and watch it. So you could do this in a couple ways. You could put it out as a podcast or a video series. You could make it a private group that people, get to be in as part of your community, that you make offers to them regularly to work with you. And you do these like live calls every so often, and you let certain people submit questions, and you take those questions that you can answer and give them something that's going to be useful. And it will be useful for the other people on the call as well. Have you ever thought about something like that?
I had gotten the idea, or people had given some suggestions about kind of a workshop, but I like kind of what you're talking about in terms of saying, bring a particular question.
Yeah.
And I would just want to ask that they, to the degree that they're comfortable, that, I want to protect privacy.
Yeah.
And so, to say this is an area we're looking at, and maybe it is that aspect of, I've got multiple, if, a lot of it, one of the reasons this is so needed is because it's the same problems again and again. I've got a kid who just finished high school, and then I hear from parents that are in kindergarten going into first grade, and I'm like, yep, I know that story. And so you're probably right that in terms of putting stuff together out there, and I think even just your idea, and what I have found that you've done that's been so supportive and helpful for me is even just the free content that you make available, the podcast. I started listening to your podcast before I became a member.
Yeah. So there is that, that's one of the reasons why I do on-air coaching calls, is it gives people the idea of what is it like to coach with Nikki, because, often people who hire me to do coaching have heard me on a podcast, listened to the Sales Maven podcast. And then when they get on a coaching call with me, they often say like, I already feel like I know you, or they say, you sound just the same, or you talk just like how you talk on the podcast. Cause I always think I'm a terrible actress and I don't know how to be anything else. So this is what you get, like it's that. But I think for you, and you could do this in a couple ways so as to not reveal privacy. They don't have to be on camera. They could submit a question. You also could have, I know a former client of mine, her podcast series works where parents actually call in and they leave a voicemail. And then she plays the voicemail on air, and then she answers their question from there. So there's a lot of ways that you could go about this. And so you are putting content out into the market, and you're putting free content out. But for people who are like, I don't want to share my story, publicly, or I need a little bit more from Cherylynne, those are the people who would pay you money. So that's what I would say to you, is offer some kind of way for people to get access to ask you questions, but use it in a way to help a broader audience, right? So anytime somebody asks me, Nikki, can I just ask this question of you privately? My answer is yes. And here's the fee to do that. But otherwise, if you want the opportunity to ask me a question, there's lots of ways to do it. You can be in the Sales Maven Society for a relatively low price. You can come and do an on-air coaching call with me on the podcast, right? Like it's going to be in a group setting so that the broader group gets the advantage of, it's not just, so this way I'm not picking and choosing from a scholarship standpoint who gets the scholarship. I'm offering this answer to everybody. So that would be my suggestion for you.
Yeah. And I think I hear this and there's a part of me, it's like, well, there's all these individual things. And I think part of it is one of the things I do is I come up with an idea and then I come up with 5 reasons why that's a bad idea. So I think that the fact that you're saying something that I've also kind of heard from people and that I know is good marketing makes a lot of sense.
Okay, good.
Great.
Trust yourself to give the best answer you can give in the moment. Doesn't mean it's the only answer. It is an answer. And that's sometimes all parents need to get started and moving in the right direction with what they're doing. And you're doing such good work in the world. And there are so many parents out there that need access to you, to your expertise, and sometimes just to have somebody who can guide and advocate for them because they're tired from advocating for their child. So keep going. That's what I say.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate you so much. Okay, Melissa, we're going to throw it to you. Would you remind everybody your role here at Sales Maven and then ask your question?
Hi, I'm back and I'm Nikki's assistant. And congratulations on 200 episodes, by the way.
You're more than my assistant, though. I want to call that out to you and your other role in the organization.
Also, the client retention manager.
Yes,
also.
she is. I always say Melissa is my person that pours love on everybody in our group. We love you.
Thank you. I love all of you guys. Okay. So, Nikki, what is your favorite thing about being the Sales Maven?
Oh, my favorite thing is when I am able to offer somebody something that they implement. I always say it's like, if I can give somebody a grain of rice and they can go and plant a rice field with it, that comes from an old, one of my favorite fables that my NLP teacher used to tell about grains of rice. So if I can offer somebody a grain of rice and they can go plant a rice field, I feel like I have done what I was put on this earth to do, is to give them that first little piece so that they can make it into something so much bigger and better. Thank you for the question. That's a good one.
I love that. A good answer.
Okay. I'm going to come over to Jayme. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Will you remind everybody of your role at Sales Maven?
Yes. It started off with SEO and I still do the SEO too, but then it just kind of morphed into, I think, what we're calling the creative service manager, because it's just kind of a little bit of social media, a little bit of graphics, a little bit of, putting ideas into motion and stuff like that. So
it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. I keep going like, what do you think about doing this? Can you take on this? And your answer is always yes. So I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. I love being part of the team. It's an awesome, awesome, awesome team.
Oh, thank you. All right. What question do you have?
All right. Question 1 would be, what is one sales belief that you have that goes against what you might hear in other sales trainings, almost like an unpopular opinion, if you will?
I think probably the most controversial, unpopular opinion that I have is that you should list your pricing on your website and that you should continue to stand in your place of power and put your pricing out there. And I know that a lot of sales coaches advise not to put your pricing out there because you want the opportunity to talk to the person, to build the value behind your offer, which I get the reason why they're saying that, but that is for the benefit of the person they're coaching. It's not for the benefit of their prospect and client. And I always look at sales from the perspective of the benefit for the client or the prospect. And when you make it easy for them to get your pricing, then you make it easy for them to make a decision to hire you. I'm actually going to say one more thing about this. This is another, I think, really unpopular opinion of, of what I believe. I truly believe you should not coach on your discovery calls. And I know that that goes against how a lot of people teach sales. They teach that you need to establish your value by proving your worth. And I say that is complete BS. And if I cussed on my show, I would actually use a curse word here. I think that is such a bad piece of advice, because you think that you're giving somebody this little tiny, like I always say, it's like a grain of sand. You think you're giving somebody a piece of sand because you know that all the resources and everything that you can bring to the table, there's this big, beautiful beach behind you. And every piece of sand on that beach is like a resource or an expertise or a story that you have. But unfortunately, the prospect and the client, they don't know what's on your beach. They don't know what your resources are. And so when you give them this grain of sand, they think that's the beach. So you should not be coaching on your discovery calls. You should be asking smart questions that plant seeds that allow this person to go, oh, nobody's asked me that question before. There's a reason this person's asking me this question, and I want to understand what the answer is. So how am I going to get the answer? I'm going to pay that person money to get the answer, and they're going to help me get there. So that's my second one. I could be on my soapbox. I feel like I could do a whole episode just on what are the things like that. I might have to do that at some point.
I was going to say, let's write that down.
Put that on the list. That's right. Okay. Jayme often gives me suggestions for episodes and things that she wants me to post on social media. Actually, I don't post anything. She posts, and the team posts stuff on social media. And most of the time she's like, I need you to shoot a video about this. And I say no, because I hate doing videos so much, but I appreciate all your suggestions. Jayme, you're amazing. All right. We're going to throw it to Angela. Angela Foster, welcome to the show, friend. And remind everybody a little bit about you and your business.
Thank you, Nikki and team, so much for having me, and congratulations on 200. I don't know that I've ever done 200 of anything before. So this is such an accomplishment. And as one of the many people who have gotten so much benefit from what you do, thank you, thank you, thank you. We all appreciate you.
So I love you so much.
Yes.
Remind everybody what you do.
Yes, ma'am. Get back on track. I got it. I'm Angela Foster, and I am a petite style coach. High achieving entrepreneurs and executives hire me to help them put together a closet that they love to wear, that they feel like they represent their brand when they're in public and invisible and being visible. So yes, in a nutshell, that's it. And so my question, good. Well, you helped me come up with it. So thank you. So my question is, I know that you have more, like you have a ton of VIP clients like myself. Mm-hmm. What is the one thing that we never, ever ask you that you wish that we would?
I feel like you just stumped Nikki. What is the one question that people rarely, I'm going to say rarely, I'm going to change it from never to rarely, ask me that I wish that they would? I'm going to say the rarely answer is that they rarely think about increasing lifetime value of the client. And so thinking about the journey of working with somebody. And so I think that is one of the things I really do love to do with people is figure out this is going to come. We're going to shoot it to Kathy next, but she's my like person that I do this with all the time. It's like, what should the order bump be? What should the upsell be when you're talking about the offer? And what is the next step? And so sometimes I think we're so focused on like getting the client in the door, right? Like getting them to pay us money. But oftentimes my clients don't think about, okay, so what's next? And you need to have a what's next for people, because it can be unsatisfying when the only option is for them to re-up for something they just bought, which in some cases works, but in some cases it doesn't. So how is that for an answer? I feel like, I don't know if that's what you had in mind, but I love thinking about lifetime value and how to increase it.
No, that was perfect. That was perfect.
Oh.
And it's so true. I mean, I know that you and I have worked on it a little bit, but that is one of my things for next year, to like really make sure that I'm not just like saying, okay, peace out, done with my clients, and making sure that they do feel supported past what the initial experience was. So I think I probably speak for a lot of the people in our group that we could really like spend more time focusing on that.
And I did just work with a VIP client not too long ago where this was a big part of what we worked on. And she just reached out to me recently, and she was actually on her like birthday weekend with her husband, and they were at a winery. And so she had reached out to say like, oh my gosh, Nikki, because she had never put order bumps or upsells into her offers before. And she's like, I just had a $6,000 sale show up and I had no idea where it came from. And when I like went back and looked, I realized that somebody I didn't know went to buy something of mine. They bought the order bump and they bought the upsell. So it went from being like a $2,500 sale to a $6,000 sale. That's the stuff that like really makes my heart race and gets me excited, because that person that bought those things, they are going to get so much value out of what they just invested. And it's so great for my client because now she can show up and give everything. Right. So that's my answer. I love that.
That was
now
perfect.
I like that question, because at first I was like, I don't know. Okay. I'm going to throw it back to Kathy. And Kathy Bliss, welcome to the show, my amazing, amazing person.
Hello, and congratulations on 200 episodes. It's so exciting to be back because obviously I haven't been on since the 100th episode. So I'm always excited to be here, and because, I totally dig you. So anything I can do.
I totally dig you too. You are the longest team member. You've been with me the longest. I'm terrible at celebrating anniversaries. And I don't know if you know, but I think we're over 7 years now. Is that true?
That's correct. We're over 7 years. I actually looked before I got on because I was like, I know you're going to say, how long have you been on? So
we need to at some point just pick dates for each one of you so that I can celebrate your anniversaries, because I'm so terrible about this. Like, I forgot my own wedding anniversary this year. That's how it just doesn't register in my mind. But remind everybody what you do for Sales Maven, your role on the team.
So I'm the online business manager. And what that means is, like Nikki said, I'm the person that kind of builds things behind the scenes. So anything that comes through your email or you see sales wise, that type of thing, I'm building that. Although Jayme is becoming an expert as well because she has such a great eye for design. She makes things look amazing. So so I'm the person that Nikki and I will get on and we'll strategize. What do we want the user experience to be like and things like that. So that's what I do for Nikki.
I always say you're my person. Anything that involves money coming into the business, you probably touch in some form or fashion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it. Okay. You have a question for me?
I do have a question for you. And that is, what is a good or general universal response to have kind of in your back pocket for someone when someone says no to a pitch?
The best response is when somebody says no to the pitch. Well, first of all, I think it's important that you really identify, did you have permission to pitch them? And as long as the answer is yes, I did have their permission to pitch them, there was a reason that we were having this conversation. Then I think if somebody says no, the response I think you should have in your back pocket is it okay to ask? That's what's known as a softening phrase, your reason for declining. So is it okay to ask your reason for declining? Wait. Don't qualify it. Don't justify it. Just ask it and stop talking and see what they say next. Doesn't mean that you're going to hear anything that will change their mind. However, oftentimes when you ask it in a kind way and in a curious way, They may reveal something to you that you just had no idea about that will help you earn the next pitch and the next pitch and the next pitch. There could be that you missed a step. It could be that something changed for them and there was nothing you could do to earn their business anyway. Or it could just be that you forgot to build rapport along the way. Like there's all kinds of things that can happen. But if you're not willing to ask for feedback in that way, you are probably kind of shooting yourself in the foot for the next pitch. I love that question. Thank you. That's a good one. All right. So I think the team, you have a few more. So I'm going to come back to you, Melissa. Did you have another question?
Yes, I have one more for you.
Okay.
What is the number one sales question you've been asked the most over the years?
What is the number one sales question I've been asked the most? It's usually how to get people to buy. How can I convince people to buy? And here's my response. You can't. Your job is not to convince people to buy from you. Your job is to understand, does the person have a want, a need, or a desire? Do you have a solution that will meet that need, that want, that desire? And do you have their permission to put that solution in front of them? So your job isn't to convince people to buy from you. It is to establish rapport. It is to understand, do they have a need? And it's to ask permission to put your solution in front of them. And that's how you earn business. And I really think there's a difference between convincing and earning. And I think when you start approaching sales as your job is to earn business, you'll find that sales gets easier, not harder. Because trying to convince people, and now in this day and age, like go try to convince your significant other of something that they have no interest in. You will you might as well just beat your head against the wall. People are the same as your significant other. They don't want to be convinced. Thank you for that question. I like it. Okay.
Absolutely.
What'd you say? Sorry.
I just said I absolutely agree with your answer.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Jayme, I'm coming back to you.
All right. What was your ultimate goal when you started Sales Maven?
My ultimate goal was to build a business that would allow for me to just answer questions all day. And I'm not even exaggerating. That to me always felt like something so far-fetched and out of reach. But I truly, truly love to be asked questions. I love questions. Like anybody who's coached with me knows. I love to teach my clients how to ask questions. I love for my clients to ask me questions. I think questions are probably I don't know if any of you guys have this, but I have a mom who has two pieces of advice for almost anything in life. These two pieces of advice are put it in a crock pot or freeze it. Doesn't usually matter what I'm asking, but it usually involves putting it in a crock pot, which I don't own one, and freezing it. My piece of advice in life is ask a question. So to have a business where people ask me questions feels almost like I'm getting away with something. Honestly, it feels like the best possible thing in the whole wide world. And I can't believe that people pay me money to ask me questions. I love it so much.
That's awesome. Doing God's work, woman. I get overwhelmed with many questions. So people need people like you.
Thank you. I love questions. Okay. Kathy, coming back to you, friend.
All right. What sales deal are you most proud of from your time in sales?
What sales deal am I most proud of? There's a few that come to mind. Earning the business from NASA felt like a really big deal. At the time, I was selling encrypted wireless audio conferencing equipment, super, super high-tech stuff that was kind of outside of my wheelhouse. Audio, I came from the tech industry and specifically video and audio. And video is so much easier than audio because audio involves like, I don't know, it's frequencies, it's all kinds of things that just felt very, very techy. Whereas video is like, can you see it? Yes or no, right? Like it just seemed easier. So when I went to work for this company and we did this deal at NASA to actually earn their business because we had a product that was encrypted, they couldn't have anybody. They wanted a wireless conferencing system, because this was when kind of like teleconferencing was a really big deal. Like people were starting to do it. But one of the downsides of wireless conferencing is that people could pick up your calls, right? They could somebody could access that call or record it in some way. And so the fact that our product was encrypted allowed for us to have this upper hand and have a product that NASA could use, but actually even to go where I sold it to was a base. It was a military base in California, where the shuttle lands when it comes back from space, and to get in and go through all the security and all the military stuff. It was a super cool deal. That's the one that I think most people kind of find interesting. But I'm actually going to say here's one thing that I am really, really proud of is we had a meeting at this very prestigious law firm set up that one of my dealers set up for me when I was working at the manufacturer. And it was a huge opportunity. And when we got there, the guy said that we showed up late. So I didn't set the meeting. So I'm just going off what my dealer had said. It always sounds like I sell drugs when I say my dealer, but it was like an audio conferencing or a video and audio dealer. So we get there and the guy was really annoyed. And he was like, "You're 45 minutes late. I only have 15 minutes left." And I remember being like, "Okay, Nikki, you got 15 minutes and we'll see what we can do." And so instead of getting all my equipment out and setting everything up, which took about 10 minutes, I started with a conversation and I started asking him some questions. And he got so interested in the questions that I was asking that he ended up giving us 2 more hours, and he kept us there, and we did earn his business, and he did let me set up all of my gear and do the demonstration for him. But instead of being like, well, we just have to reschedule, I was like, I'll take these 15 minutes and we'll see what we can do with them. So I was really proud of that deal, actually. There's a couple more that come to mind, but I love those questions. That's fun. I don't know if it's interesting to the audience, but whoever asked it, thank you for that. And all right, so we are going to bring this particular episode to a close. Thank you, each and every one of you. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Cherylynne. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Jayme. And thank you, Kathy. I really adore each and every one of you. I feel really honored to work with you in the capacity of being your sales coach and or being a part of the team here at Sales Maven. Thank you. And thank you so much for you, the listener, for showing up, for sharing the podcast, for leaving reviews. I'm so delighted by reviews of the podcast. And for listening until you're ready and then coming to work with me. That was the whole point of doing the podcast, was to give people kind of that exposure of what it's like to work with me. So when a podcast listener shows up and they're like, "Okay, Nikki, I'm ready. Let's go." There's just nothing more fulfilling than that. So thank you for being here. I hope we'll be back for episode 300. We'll see. And keep listening, keep sharing. And I wish you continued success in all that you're doing. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.
Are you ready to increase your confidence in your sales conversations? I have a gift for you that is going to show you exactly how to do that. It is my Closing the Sale ebook. It's all about leveling up your confidence, giving you language to use, how to seamlessly move somebody through the sales process. And you can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/Maven. Go grab it.